Deputy Ministers, the government led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is a government on a reset agenda, but these nominations indicate an upgrade from former deputy ministers to substantive ministers. It gives an indication that, indeed, it is good to upgrade in life as human beings. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Dr. KCL Atoforsen, who has been nominated to the prestigious office of the Finance Minister, is a distinguished personality. He served as a member of Parliament. He served on the Finance Committee. He's been a Deputy Minister for Finance before. So truly, his competence and experience in the ministry he's going to is not questionable. The Honorable Minister-designate came to the KNUST at the time I was a lecturer there at the business school for one of his programs. But Mr. Speaker, whilst we approve the Minister for Finance, it is important for me to note that he is going into that office to perform three main functions as any finance manager will perform. He's going to take investment decisions for the country, financing decisions for the country, and budgeting decisions. Mr. Speaker, it is important as a country, having one of us going into such ministries, to remind ourselves that we need to enter into contracts that the Ghanaian people will have value for money. Recently, His Excellency the President met the President of the African Development Bank and put before them initiatives and projects that the government wants to embark upon. Mr. Speaker, we have been on this curve before, and Ghana in the past have procured some loans for infrastructure projects, and most of these loans have come at exorbitant prices to the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, if you indulge me, I should like to remind the minister going for the finance minister that in the year 2015, the government of Ghana, through the African Development Bank, took a loan for the Terminal 3 project. That loan came with an interest of 8.5%, so high for the Ghanaian people. It took the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to renegotiate that interest down to 5%. Also, the initial loan agreement for the Temako-Sombo standard gauge railway project that was contracted by the NDC government, that the Honorable Atoforsen was the deputy minister, came with an interest of 6-month LIBOR plus 1.75%. Mr. Speaker, this was so high, and it took the government of the NPP to renegotiate this down to 6-month LIBOR plus 1.5%. Then again, Mr. Speaker, Honorable, if you look at the Pokuase interchange.
Honorable Member, I believe you'll get time for you to debate some of these issues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just begin to wind up for me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the point I am making is that as the minister heads to the ministry to take financing decisions for the country, we must ensure that if we are going for loans, we go for cheaper loans. If we are procuring financing, we must ensure that the financing we are procuring are not coming at exorbitant prices to the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, in winding up, I want to comment briefly on the Honorable Minister for Energy, John Jinapo. Permit me, Mr. Speaker.
I give you 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, something that is of utmost interest to the Ghanaian people today is electricity tariffs. I wish to remind the minister that Ghanaian people will be very appreciative if he's able to work to reduce prices or the tariffs of electricity. And Mr. Speaker, just to support what I'm saying with this data, Ghanaians have gone through a lot. In 2009, there was no increase in electricity tariffs.
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, in 2010, Ghanaians paid 10%. In 2011, 8.9%. In 2012, 7.4%. In 2013, 58%. In 2014, 28%.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, in the heat of doomsday, we were paying 90%.
Honourable Member, thank you so much. You get the opportunity.
If you just oppose this.
Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, you get the opportunity one day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So that you can give up your. Thank you very much. Honourable Member, please.
The Honourable John Jinapo, lessons that we can share with our colleagues. No matter the explanations that you give, what the people of Ghana are waiting for is that fuel prices don't go up, the electricity prices don't go up, the fuel is available at the pumps, that the lights don't go off. We wish our brother well, and we hope he delivers in that area. The Speaker.
Abushanfo Adafro Mamunyina kwa Basronkon Edeba RAZ Media GH show your life Cecilia Mame Cynthia Frimpon Memwakwa ba yepa medawase se wanya bre na wada Abushan yebedi nkomobia ehun hia pa se yebedi hu nkomo. Yes. Eskemi ya mwakwa pa. Komana na ebedi no. Very 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 important. Etimesro say bomadra na yede share video no na like comment nso na yehu na yanchiao kama said yes na yede efata. Yesi abana yede bought a chile da so etwe kona ho yede bebo ban so mana ye and yede bought a chile de bebo ban kama pa agata upon mo akwa ba ye pa da bia ye ka papa bi ka chile me se NDC for ete se Kumase kejeti akromfo so what is or team se kromfo enkoba bia into America so to America one here na ohwachu because eyo no mom na ye kromfo no and odi krono beto obi so enti papa na kan chere me se what is NDC ni team so obi kromfo obi ya ade we obi ye we ya. Don't forget about him. Obwa. Odintro. Bi ono. Nye bimpo. Ono na eye. Di ono di akusi obi so obi ye no. Ubekom no. Na eyo ono mom na wasia jena o ye de o ka no ho ase. Ade wo refri. Ha? Mo refri ana. Yenyina ye kai pa se NDC for shase kan se vigilante groups MPP for da so ekita vigilante groups abra na ekwa koto aba during campaign no NDC for ba bonten be kan den se omodo mo ye sure say MPP for shase treni amanfo ewo Jubilee House. So I'm informed to trust him during the election. Yes. And this if one ever catch Ghana for say, Papa Bisi wa koba bi okwako won say Ghana police panyini bi. As a sound kura bi no ma o training omo. Ya trauma mo kan sa say no ma ejitum. And so at the end of the day, ye kokoto aba na debe na si ye hu hwan and another training amount for the omoasie. It is the first. The second, NDC for Babontin said, Omodia, vigilante group, Omoni, and they are not associated with any vigilante groups. MPP for so the edge to mu disassociate omo from all the vigilante groups. Ye call ye na to abano. Ye hu one na no titi moto so. Call police station centers. This is a near to go abontene or moshe near more moshe police stations. Ye hu one hour yes adia. Alameboa. Ameboa. Yaba betwaba NDC for community as say MPP for omone isi aka abo mo be wi abam ye koto aba no ye hu se na NDC for the kita machines bia na omode disrupt performances of the EC machines ye nyina ye hu bi anameboa. That is it. And today ben biem ena ye be cancel na ni party as say NDC ni kase obi ya de bi ya de boni a oboa ono na oye mo kai gadam say mo kai gadam say mo kai kwan ye de na nando danko Akufo-Addo afaso e wo gadam say ho ye kan ya ma ne koduru ba bi se na nando danko Akufo-Addo ni fie ye se ne dan achi abuja nya de SK se fa na me kanu ye kan ya ma ne koduru se na nando danko Akufo-Addo no ankasa ni fie ne dan achi ni fie ono ankasa na sase oteso e wo chebi ye tu gadam say wo so ye kan ya magana for GD Akufo-Addo ni fie ni dan achi ye tu gadam say wo ema se bi yenya media houses nso a omutumi fasa information we ebirim kura tumi nyanto wase na nteko na nado danko Akufo-Addo ni fie so omokọ akohwe se ye nokore ana se ye nokore tidemika no media houses omo Ghana tumi nyadaje na nte se omokọ akohwe se Akufo-Addo fie omutu galamsey ana so omutu galamsey abuja man na yetimi o problem wo man no enye problem keto enye nkura problem o ye wo media house omo ya bodamfo atrofo kohifo ena ye wo citizens so adwene ne nya adwuma ena ya kan ho abom bacho temi ye pa ebia na wo refri asem wo esi ya chekakra nti ebia na wo yeden wo refri media people share dan nante pan konanado ni kurom se omoko check se no kure se ye tu galamsey e ho kwa papa na ye fe ne frimpon boaten ye se akwakoye ye fe ne sembi aba akwakoye documentary bi aba se the documentary na okoye ye no according to him was MPP for ne too good enso na omoboa sa documentary no na se NDC fo agege Western region ba bia ba omobo Ghana for a tra ho ma ye dey
Chebi
the Eastern ewura ya ni sa video etie na me find cast I'm coming to make I want to make you understand something video we City TV for Ghana pa etumi nante firi Accra akọche bi se omoko hwese Akufo-Addo fie yetu galamsey wo ho ma me esta mo akwa pa o mo te say SK Saukai Yeshana nante kwa kufuadu ni fie na nado dan kwa kufuadu fie se omo ate se yetu galamsey e dia say ne fence nti omo okonoma kwese no kora. And this fo ene she de twa sa agenda no to amanfo tim wo man no. Se MPP fo na ye galamsey na nado fie kora no. Galamsey asay ne fence. Nana bema me mo akwa ba. Chese papa na asem na oka kire me se wote se NDC ni kese kromfo men to America na to America ye be kun because eyo no na ye kromfo no na de no ho asie e no kore pa majatu. Now I want to build my points. Me build the points ni wi a na ma yi video na abeto abonten bibi a kire se Mahama ne nkrofo from the Jubilee House. And a two galamsey and Ghana forest, Tiwa forest, Ghana. It is still possible. Winston asemani mimwakwa papa. Omana yetim no a Jimmy for wom. Na Jimmy for na chino. E wo media biso ho mo abodam omo yare. Omo yare, the media has lost their what they were supposed to do. No, they cannot do it. They are doing different things. So to me, transfer kwa the country say or president ankasa or not the presidency acto online to fight against galamsey. If the country say ni fear ye to galamsey na waso camera say okona wakwa na wonyare. But in your media organa my mua Emmanuel Asumo du memo akwa papa. But yenya media house organa my mua monante ko chebi ekohwe se ya no krese ye tu go do nanado ni fia. Hey. We no nyina no eye 30 NDC fo e sha se di yo mo campaign. Ema ye kan ya amani duruba bia Saranado there galamsey man pa nipo ye full involved in galamsey activities ono na ye number 1 ye kan ya amani duruba bi say ye koye video bi adote the babontin MPP for so mu hia sika but you to me follow into that. And to them about, I want to build your point. You have brother, a man for shed an antiquon and another fear. So Moko say, you two galamsey when you fear in video.
Region. Behind me is the residence of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic. If you're familiar with the Professor Frimpong Boateng report, which was released some couple of weeks ago, there were some claims in this particular report that galamsey had taken place in the residence of the president or around the residence of the president. Now, this has generated a lot of debate with regards to government's whole fight against illegal mining on galamsey. Now, today we've come to Chebi to verify these claims by Professor Frimpong Boateng in this much talked about report. Professor Frimpong Boateng was the chairman of the defunct anti-galamsey intermediate.
Papa, we are saying we are walking to Umfere. Said the city president's home, say galamsey site. Yep, we came to check.
Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining that had the main focus of fighting galamsey. Now he came out with this particular explosive report. So we've come out here in Chebi to verify some of the claims he made, especially as to whether galamsey ever took place in the president's house or within the president's house. That led to the collapse of the president's wall and even galamsey taking place in the president's garden. So we'll go into the house of the president, check these claims made by Professor Frimpong Boateng, and then verify from there. Whilst we do that, we'll get some residents within this particular area to speak to and find out from them if indeed such a thing ever happened in the official residence of the president. So This is the house of President Akufo-Addo in Chebi. It's quite a big compound. It's well fenced. The gardens are in here, summer huts and everything that has to do. So we just want to find out if indeed Galamsey ever took place in this house or around this house or within the garden of President Akufo-Addo. So the shots you're seeing now is the garden of the president, his house here in Chebi in the eastern region. I will try and speak to some few residents within this particular area to ever find out if indeed something ever took place. I live here.
No, I don't live here.
You don't live here.
I'm a constituency chairman. Exactly.
Okay. I'm sure you had these claims or this report of Professor Mahama that Galamsey ever took place within the president house or around the president house. Or you are the constituency chairman in this area. Does such a thing ever take place?
You can see from afar. This palm tree is over 40 years here, and you can see a big trees here. You see a summer hut. It's over 20-30 years. We just shape it. We don't do anything. Galamsey is not doing here. We don't understand this. So I don't know what Frimpong Boateng mean about doing Galamsey in President House.
But when you heard it, what was your reaction?
It even baffled my mind about what Frimpong Boateng means. So I don't know. I don't know who told Frimpong Boateng about this thing. Unless if Frimpong Boateng, I don't know if Frimpong Boateng knows this house. If he knows this house, he couldn't have said that.
But Frimpong Boateng, the report said he got a call from one Eric Entry. It was Eric Entry who called him that something like this was taking place within the president's periphery.
They didn't verify from Eric Entry that it's the house in Chebi or it's a house in Nima. I don't know whether gold has been appearing in Nima residence. So I don't know. But you can see from your eye. There's no mining, there's no nothing here. So I don't know.
So for you, this particular report is not true?
Yes. We should put it aside. The report is not true. It's a very lie.
So we have come to the backyard of the president's house, where Professor Frimpong Boateng in his report says that Galamsey also took place at the backyard of the president. Now, behind me is the backyard of the president, filled with vegetation, palm trees, plantain trees and the likes. But there are no signs, so you can't see whether they've ever been digging or anything which has been done at this particular backyard. I will speak to a resident who lives very, very close to the president's house to find out if he ever witnessed Galamsey within or even around the president's house, since he lives very close to the president's house. These claims of Galamsey ever taking place around the president's house, have you heard of it yourself?
Never before in the history of this area have I ever seen such an act perpetrated in the manner he suggests it was done. I mean, I have never heard anything of that sort. I've never seen any excavator here. Looking at the mere positioning of the house, look at the other houses that have surrounded the president's house. Look at the roads construction. How possible is it for anybody to perpetrate that act? It has never taken place, as you can see by your cameras.
So when you heard of this particular claim, what was your reaction?
I was highly flabbergasted because do you know what? The professor claims he was informed this issue by another person whom he says called him and informed him.
He mentioned the name of one Eric Entry.
Yes, according to him, one Eric Entry at the office of the president called him and informed him about that. Now, if the professor had remained on that, if the professor had ended on that and had not gone on, we would probably have said maybe the professor should have followed up to see it. But he said he followed up. So is it the case that he doesn't actually know the president's house, or he just wants to peddle falsehood?
He followed up with a bulldozer to come and cover up and reclaim the land.
So as you can see,
stated in the report.
okay, so as you can see, do you see any evidence of a bulldozer having done that some time ago? As you can see, there is nothing of that sort that has taken place here. So we are astonished by that part, especially of the report, because we stay in this area and we know that what the professor is talking about is nothing but palpable falsehood.
Because the president said we have to watch that some people have been doing all these things in around this, our forests, everything. Do you understand? Yes. So we used to be watching all these things. So the back of his house, and people are saying that, or his own house, that people are digging there for a gold. It doesn't speak well of those people who are saying that.
So what was the reaction when you heard this claims by the good old professor?
Oh, for the professor, I don't know. Maybe once they have quit him from where he is, that's what maybe he's trying to be, it has been baffled him, sorry. That's why maybe he's doing that.
We are still trying to speak to more people here in Chebi to indeed find out if this claims by Professor Frimpong Boateng ever took place. Let me speak to this woman. She sells fried yam, I guess, and fish and kenke, very close to the president's house. We will speak to her and find out if indeed this thing has ever happened here. Mami, me pacho eti saying. Then I'll tell her.
Pacho me ton dokun.
Dokun ni de.
Inchinam.
Infia hina o start ton.
Oh, ache infia chukure chum.
Okay. Me gidi say na say what is sembia say o man pani fie echi ye galamsey wo ho ene ne manema you sure so what is science na o to wa dey very close to o man pani fie won bibi say sa e koso
mate ba enimu say ye tu galamsey wo nanado afichire ye chire ha na meton ade bibi nte sa enimu sa e atro no wudi
edu ti bibi sa no se na ye o
me kra ha me say me ameti echa me hu bibi na
They are for the infancy. Some so and this is for Nana from Wakwa Sapon Coffee. You're welcome. So it to me shall say propagate. We started from the highest level to accuse Anando so Nankasa if you're the GALAMSEY. Ekaye ma media houses share that's the same fidie ne camera kone nam chebi e ma asem no betoto nipa nyina tim ken dedo mo akwa na nipa bone wo ho nipa bone otu na nisu se o ye wa aya no dia simpa sa ne ma wi na ekoso nyina no na ye campaign na ndisi fo ashase o trying to sell Nanado to the people say Nanado is the most wicked person ever in the history of Ghana. Say President Otias Oteho. Now we are president. Now one kasa ufie. Ya the other GALAMSEY site. Na sabi mpo. Asem na beto abontere no e wan kasa wo hu nipa mpo na asen aba be ka na abonten adanya ye yi na di ena ndc fo akohye ne mu se o medi ntrom fa ntere Ghana fo no mo di awe ne power me bawo me se me be video a kire wa ndc fo mpanfo ena hye wuram no mo ye GALAMSEY na ho aba asem a omo aprepra journalist omuachi police for abro omuachi soldier for abro because omo say eye Mahama na soma won na mese me ba be kan kokwa me be ka de niam a kire me be ka ma asem na me de niam a kire na wate ase ye se ndc for yahudi for akohwifo ɔmo yɛ nipa binom a ɛntorɔ ne nkontompo wahyɛ wɔn ma hwɛ campaign a yɛkɔyɛ asɛbio yɛdi nkokoe sɛ wotena ase paa na wonanaise nsɛm a na ndisifoɔ ka ɛne nsɛm a na mpp4 ka wotumi bisa ho sɛ na who is in his right minds hwan na n'adwene mu da hɔ na sound pure wobɛsɛ mekɔ akɔto aba de ama ndisi but Mahama nim Ghanafoɔ yie paa NDC leadership in Ghana for a year pa. Almost study how Ghanaians are easily to direct and to drive. Everything in the campaign of the NDC was a lie or were lies. Abusia, asem we beto abontre omo kan na yam fancy ho NDC communication officer ankasa a share that sika media houses ahodo omo Ghana yina and I wofre won so omo mra na omo mayden omo mra mefa nsem onu nsem jam film say ye ntro na oba beka enko all the media houses also then tenable be say and PP4 ye Galamsey inside of fighting Galamsey a video way so maybe I want you to understand how hypocritical these guys can be. Where
at a press conference at the NDC headquarters in Accra, the National Communications Officer for NDC, Sammy Jemfi, alleged that some members of the NPP and government are involved in Galamsey. He added that
some members of the NPP and government are involved in Galamsey.
The surest way to wage a successful war against illegal mining in Ghana is the political will of duty bearers of the country to confront the menace.
That as far as we are concerned, and as the evidence bears us out, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government has not exhibited any genuine commitment to the fight against illegal mining. And that their so-called fight against Galamsey is nothing but a scam. Indeed, we have always told Ghanaians that the single most important thing needed to wage a successful war against illegal mining in Ghana is the political will of the duty bearers of the country to confront the menace and all the dark forces fueling it, regardless of whose ox is God. It has, however, been clear to us from day one that behind the facade of the so-called Galamsey fight of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is a well-crafted ruse designed to appropriate the illicit Galamsey trade for MPP apparatchiks and higher-ups in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government and their foreign collaborators. Time without number, we have got the clearest confirmation from countless instances of state-backed complicity, active participation, and sometimes clear aiding and abetment of illegal mining activities, not only by officials of the New Patriotic Party, but by some of the very men and women in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government entrusted with the responsibility of protecting our environment.
Mr. Jemfi further questioned President Akufo-Addo's call that the fight against illegal mining must be depoliticized.
How can the man, President Akufo-Addo, who stood on a political campaign platform in the year 2016 in Obuasi and promised to promote illegal mining, aka Galamsey, when elected, lecture us on the need to depoliticize the fight against illegal mining? How is that even possible? And maybe somebody is hearing this for the first time. The person may not know that President Akufo-Addo actually promised to promote Galamsey, and he made that promise on the campaign platform for votes.
The NDC also called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of all government functionaries and MPP officials who have engaged in illegal mining activities.
We demand the immediate prosecution of all government functionaries and MPP officials who have engaged in illegal mining, such as Charles Visu, Chama Wuntumi. The evidence is clear. The Minerals Commission, your own Minister for Lands and Natural Resources say Chama Wuntumi is doing Galamsey in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. You don't need any other evidence before you can prosecute him. And Yowusu, Ekwawusi, Professor Frimpong Boateng, among others. This will be the first step to your redemption and serve as a deterrent to other people within your government and party. You need to send a clear signal to Ghanaians that anyone caught in Galamsey will be dealt with without fear or favor, regardless of their party colors.
The NDC is of the view that the new patriotic party cannot be trusted to successfully win the fight against illegal mining in this country. Reporting for City News, my name.
Antimia, Tiamio. Hey, go forward. You hear what they're saying? Chamawun to me, or your minor, Chamawun to one Galamsey Dilo, or your minor, certified one or one in Krata or Yena Juma. I'm Chashawusu, or young people new. Yeah, Yakopo. Chashawusu, Echo Jina Tachimai, Setachimai South to Setachimai North as a MPino. One go in the name of MPP. He went as an independent person because he's not an MPP man. He was just a friend to Sir John, but that doesn't make him an MPP person. But who? Akwaneka say MPP members and government. He also said, or mention the names of the people. No? When to me mention a name of a particular person, or you Galamsey, na momobi or ye minor and okobonide. Or say, Juana, up to me sober pananim, I will do no. Chashawusu, onion pipinu. Chashawusu, Usu ben padamfu. Chashawusu, no ye, Sir John, Ninipa, but no young PP party, a leader, a party member, or whatever. But look at how they crafted everything, and we fall into it as fools. Permission video na se me can send me chire. I don't know if you remember. Me can tell say so what is NDC ni kese obi bokoro no. And now this NDC ni kese obi ewe omote se Kumase KJT Dwam Kromfo. Otise odi obi achi boni krono, otise odi America bo kromfo a gina ho. Se utu America obedan wo kromfo. Enso ono na obo krono. Abusia. Enche bia o. Na no day. Me pese untie video way first. Tie video way first. Just listen to this video first.
The Tanwanya Forest Reserve was invaded early last year by known political actors in the Ahowin municipality, spearheaded by armed thugs. Clean Jobs, the company with a legal concession in the area, has been teaming up with the Forestry Commission to ward off the illegal miners, preventing full-scale destruction of the reserve. But after a momentary respite following a change in power, two armed groups have taken over, laying siege and engaging in the illegal mining of the biodiversity area.
Me, I want them. What you say, my papa? Can Mami can is what you? Osi Endra. Na no anda yes san power. John Mahama nkorofo. Mukita tuo ni agyan ne sekan. Akwa tano awia forest no aboso. Tio, nkurɔfoɔ wei a 2 months ago 3 months ago na ɔmo sɛ na naado ne nkurɔfoɔ na ɛyɛ sɛbio galamsey no ɛnɛ ɔmo ɛna akɔgyina forest ne ma ɔmo yɛ ɔmo man ne te sɛ de ɔkyena bi ni hɔ ne yɛahyehyɛ tuo ɛde ama nkurɔfoɔ sɛ ɔmo mfa nyina hɔ mma ɔmo ho ban tie video no nyina tie.
Sources on the ground accuse the MP for the area of sponsoring the fresh siege on the forest with close to 17 excavators. But Oscar Oforilabi has denied involvement, but confirms those mining are party boys.
Sawate. MP no ɔhɔ no yɛn DC MP. Sawate. MP no wei there ɔhɔ no yɛn DC MP. Nipa ɔmo ti kurom no hɔ no sɛ ɔno na ɛyɛ galamsey no. Yɛkɔ sɛ yɛkɔkye na ɔsɛ nyɛ ɔno a na ɔmo yɛ no ɔmo yɛ NDC for boys ɛna ɔmo yɛ galamsey. Me ya story no ware o. Story no ware. Yɛ kan na moante. Yɛ kan na moyɛ dɛn. Moante. Oti sɛ me gyam fidie na ɔkeka. Sɛ me gyam fi sɛ na nado danko akufo ado ne cronies ɛna ɛsɛ Ghana nsuo. Ɛna oti yɛsɛ aban ne nsesaeɛ na ma nipa ekuo mmienu bi akɔhyɛ forest no ma ɔmo aborɔkɔ hɔ. Akitakita tuo ne agyan ne sekan a wontumi mfa w'ani ewura hɔ. Yɛbɛkum yɛde 17 excavators na ɛkɔwuwura no. Enti wo na ɔte Ghana man mu a na wagya wo ho. Ɛma yɛka kyerɛ wo sɛ akufo adona na aban ɛhyɛ wo nsuo nti to abatia no. Na wɔn mmara no ɔho wɔwie yɛ. Ai. Wo na wagyae ma de w'adwene di agorɔ sɛ MPP foɔ na ɛyɛ galamsey wɔ ɔman no mu. Enti kɔto abatia wɔ. Wo no a na wagya ma Captain Kwasi Ampanyin Smart te onua TV so na ɔka kyerɛ wo sɛ MPP foɔ yɛ galamsey de sɛ wo nsuo no. Wote 17 good excavators na de akɔwura tano awia forest no ma yɛde yɛ galamsey kitikiti. Ai Mahama ne nkurɔfoɔ taxes ne nso no. Hwɛ afanya markets wɔ ho. Menim so ɔyɛ spiritual man o sesenyo. Ɔkan yo. Ɔsɛ the fact that NDC associated themselves with criminals to win power no. The main reason why the NDC will suffer in power. You see what is going on?
Members of a rapid response team dispatched to stop the illegality were later accosted outside the forest area by the illegal miners on motorbikes, taken to an unknown location and assaulted. Joy News checks revealed they seized the weapons of some of the forest guards. On Wednesday, the two armed groups who have laid siege in the Tananya Forest Reserve engaged in a fight, leading to the death of 2 and 1 in a critical condition with severe gunshot wounds. Sources at the Forestry Commission say forest guards are unable to discharge their duties anymore because of the latest invasion. Forest reserves affected in the latest wave of invasion include Tananya, Tanonimre, and the Yoyo Forest Reserves. Reporting for Joy News, Ertus Asaridonko, Awin Municipality, Western Region.
Joseph Guan Moakwaba. Me, I saw. Say one party boy so. Na ebia na we me pese wuntie biti asema akwa we kai tie. Ebi akwana hu se not pick up no mu. Won hu nipa so eti asem o kan na tie ni ye. Tie.
Mumu hana tu etu tu. Hana kida rofo no. Hana tu tu no. Ai. Hana kida rofo. Hana small. No, hana small. No, hana kida. Hana small.
So what? I said John Mahama the bodyguard and a small one. And it's uncle for we. Omono Galamsey no mu trunye se bia we police no ko akwachi wono. And it's an anado de na ne bre no so a na individuals binum akromfo bi na omo awi omo ho omo tu Galamsey ana aban ni di omo achi omo ss won fidie ni won machines na omo agyan no we no the NDC fo na ankasa e na asoma won so omo ko Galamsey entu be kwa koduru ho no na security e wo ho no wo the whole armed force na wo de ko ho no nduru won that led from the Jubilee House no mo shegura mo tu Galamsey sauti forest guard for no koso mo ko stop wo no yetimichi won e ko hye ba bi bro won e prepare amanfo e wo wura no ha la kana fo samo se sana motie kana fo mo se munni mande pa kana fo mo se mom pa de pa so yenyen ruba bia o afeni ahya ase forest no ya gia boso o de bra o ba beto e ho ye beto abro because we are coming from the Jubilee House. Because this is an operation from the Jubilee House. Now, hurt it. I accept. Me pese me ma on video na waka kra beta wo se wuntie ne ye. The NDC for the aye journalist be e wo forest no. Tio ene de enye se ye hu se aban e banti ye dwane o. Ene de enye se be ye hu se forest guide for e banti ye dwane akose baabi. Good evening Joseph Boa. Enye se ye hu se anti Galamsey group bi ba enti dwane yesuro ye dibone that be this time the mood na ho atwen wo ba ya chewa bro udi agoro ya sen kidnap o ni asa kan cho se ya ban na asoma yen Ghana for say there and the papa ba ifia yempe ye nya daje ye de nya daje ye nya daje obi asem obi abeka bia ni age ato dia abeto horo no eno na ekoso wo manum and that is what is happening. That is what is happening today. Galamsey for no a NDC leadership na asoma wo, so you can't do nothing to them. When you make them, you just need to run. Omoba also ombeche okun, ombe bro okun, because omono ombukita tu akese pop action guns ya unhu bida. Omosansu kita to me. The presidency is protecting them. Yeah. The presidency, it is protecting them to do Galamsey. And your mind, Galamsey, ye to ase unsu, ase wasasi, ase uhunya manina. Jimmy, 4 years time, and Obrun will be all could. Now, join us for. No one is all young people before could do a agro. I echo 3 Here beti MDC for MPP for to. Here ko wura mu ha kwa video de ababo ntrese MPP for gusu ye Galamsey even in opposition. And omokoye na omokoshia mari Mahama. A free Jubilee House na kwashe wura mu ye Galamsey. Abusia video mbabi ya kire wi. Me pesa wonya aso na wotie ni ye. Ai you assume that tie nsem na journalists na kan de akire wo de to no e wo wura mu ho. De to no e wo wura mu ho. Video na me di kan yi kire wo no. Me be body to aso na kire wo. Ba bia papa wo ye otu ho ye oba beka de to no wura mu ho. De NDC form de ye no NDC MP district chairman nyina gira hopi. Ye chiwa bruwo ye free Jubilee House na eba John Daraga Mahama na ye president o ene oman ye de o enye police for de bi menye soldier for de o the power from the president and any individual go no is stronger than whatever you call yourself. This time we are promising you say ye bana be boa ma Galamsey so atwa na motumia ale enye koko dodo aton mobwa ene ye betu koko no nyina ye de ho aye Galamsey ye boabo sika no de aye abusua kakraka bia sika abu no forever. Yes. Salif say Ashraf Mahama obedi president ni bi. Nti e boabo sika no go e de agu na chi for the next 20 years to come. Or 20 or 10 years to come. Diabuja, asama yete ho na yasem keto. Mahama is the king of Galamsey. He is the king of Galamsey. And then on nene bodyguards and a two egugura foresting and omoye Galamsey. Omo Jemina bosso because ene omo buying and I then abba. O school na o kone hu hia wo no. Sa free SHS na anado. Etitin ne mawure ma na ohwe ohun school se ohun beto no. Omo nwene hu. Bondo abodam. Me na mehwe oba. Me be jisika furu boto ma o se mehwe oba. Ai na atwe no we. Ye de ya ba na ya ba krante ne maame ene ne ma. Ye ba na ya ba na ya pa. Ye be di biako. Would you take video way? Listen to this video.
Online with us. Or you mean you were telling us
his headquarters had a doom to raid the illegal mining site at the Anwea side of the tunnel of Faye, the site. Usually with the Galamsey site, the site proper. When we enter the site, it's a very vast area, a large tracts of the forest, green forest that has been destroyed, and it can be arrested to face the law. Whilst camouflage, by this time around, they were armed more than the first military personas throwing stones at the bars. And I saw the first person, then the people, the illegal miners, the security men, the journalists from the Joint News team, and we have come here just to cover event member, also the unit committee member, also how to shout on top of his voice.
Okay, and Ohimin Tewia is back online with us. Ohimin, you were telling us
his headquarters had a doom to raid the illegal mining site at the Anwea side of the tunnel of Faye, the site. Usually with the Galamsey site, the site proper. When we enter the site, it's a very vast area, a large tracts of the forest, green forest that has been destroyed, and it can be arrested to face the law. Whilst camouflage, by this time around, they were armed more than the first military person.
Tavia is back online with us. Oyeme, you were telling us about what happened after the expose was aired, and we kept the internet or the connection was just so bad. So can you start all over again?
Yes, sweetie. So after the expose, then on December 20th, the police team left the Ashanti Regional Police Headquarters at Edum to raid the illegal mining site at the Anwea side of the tunnel of shelter bed forest reserve. So when we entered the site, usually with the Galamsey site, you meet metal or even wooden barricades erected by the illegal miners, and they are manned by security. In this instance, those who were manning this point were national security operatives who were armed to the teeth. Because I saw pump action guns, these are latest pump action guns. And immediately the police team entered. The first.
Sawate, national security na yedi ama Mahama se. On fambo mo ho pai no. Omo di tu Galamsey o. Ila. Sawate, national security na omo kita tu so sophisticated. Sophisticated guns and omode yeden omode protecting Galamsey for ai yeto abawi ese Mahama rene na no sa fom ho na baba yam NDC for Galamsey site kakraka pa atoni agyan se kan akese late kwame matewa me da se. Yes, that professor was paid by NDC. Abetabonten. So on cancer answer no. Now I'm saying as well SMC. Nyaba media so you can say whatever. People will not even take consideration of ratification out there. But yes, indeed, what they can no. And one echo. In the bush, not some journalists we can. National security is Mahama far more or mine no buying. And defend you from Boko Haram and as for no. Ono de wapama omuso munko wuramo omunko tu Galamsey no mfasi camera waye campaign ache mumenguso ntie video no very interesting video.
Arrested those at the barrier. Then those arrested were handcuffed and put in the custody of 2 police officers for the team to enter the site proper. When we entered the site, it's a very vast area. Then we got to the last point where these illegal miners had been mining, and you could see the large tracts of the forest, green forest that has been destroyed, and the gold washers were on, the gold washing machines were on, the water pumping machines were on, and they were in brisk business. But unfortunately, we didn't meet anybody at this site. Then those in charge, the excavator operators that the police team sent, were trying to track the excavators back, because the point and the arrangement was that the police had said they would take the excavators to the Nyinahini police station, and when these the owners come for them, they can be arrested to face the law. Whilst at this site, a call came through from the police officers who were at the entrance that the illegal miners had regrouped, the security men had regrouped and mounted 2 more barriers outside the first one that we met. Then the police team decided to move to the entrance. We came to meet these large, illegal miners, their security operatives, dressed in military camouflage, some with hoods all over. You cannot even see their faces. And they started making demands that first, police have to release the security men that they have arrested, and also return the seized arms that they took from the arms that they took from the illegal miners. And then they were also insisted that police release money, mobile phones, and wrappers of gold that they took. And then also, the last demand was that the Joy News team will have to surrender our camera for them to take a look at the images that we have taken at the site. So then they started, all these demands were made whilst they were being, they were agitating. And you could see their numbers kept growing, their numbers kept increasing, to the point that the miners had introduced a first reinforcement. So the first reinforcement came, and they were also dressed in military camouflage. By this time around, they were armed more than the first military team that we met at the site. And so they started deflating the tires of the buses that we went to the site with. At that time, myself and the camera technician and some excavator mechanics and operators were on board. And police has said that we should remain on board so that they deal with the situation. Then they started deflating the tires of the buses, and then they started also pelting us, throwing stones at the bus. And I saw the first person being hit in the head by one of the stones. He collapsed in the vehicle, and then you could see blood oozing all over. And myself, I was the second person to be hit by the stone. And in the midst of all these agitations, I saw the assemblyman for Anyefutu, Kechire Opoku, somebody I had interviewed on November 30th, present in the midst of the illegal miners, shouting on top of his voice that he has spoken to the district police commander, and that the police commander says he has no idea, he has no knowledge of the operation of the police team, and that everybody, all of us at the premises were armed robbers, we were criminals, and that is why the police commander is not aware. So all these comments appear to have incited the illegal miners and emboldened them. And so immediately I was hit by the stone. I fell in the vehicle, and you could see I started bleeding, blood all over, to the point that I saw a unit committee member. When I spoke to the assemblyman on that particular day, there were 2 unit committee members present. So I saw him and called him, "Chief, can you help us?" And he was very, very, he felt so uncomfortable that myself and the camera technicians were in the bus and we have been attacked. So he tried to offer some support to lead us out of the bus. And the camera technician had to be pulled through the window of the bus. So whilst we were being escorted by the unit committee member, we were running. Then the people, the illegal miners, the security men started, approaching us, and I had to shout on top of my voice. This time around, I'll say I had my Joy News jackets on. So we're shouting, we are not armed robbers. Some for if you Joy News. So wait, we are not armed robbers. We are journalists from the Joy News team, and we have come here just to cover events as unfold. But these people were still, coming all over us. And then the assembly member, also the unit committee member, also had to shout on top of his voice. When he realized the attacks were, becoming so pronounced, me a unit committee, me a committee member. So to wait, he is from the community, he lives there with them, and he's a member of the unit committee. So he had to be freed in that manner. But at the point I realized he left me because the people were so many. They had, those who had joined the attack on us were so many. Then I was hit on
sorry to interject. How did he leave you? How did he escape the attack?
In fact, when the security men, their numbers were increasing and he was shouting on his voice, it's like at that point, he had to run for his life. So I cannot say what exactly he did, but at that moment, he was not with us. he was the one leading us to safety, but I couldn't find him because the numbers had swelled. The number of the security operatives had grown and has increased, so he had to leave the scene. Then I was hit on the upper part of my chest by a stone, and it sent me down. All this while I was bleeding. I was, shouting on top of my voice that I'm a journalist from Joy News TV, and the people pulled. I saw them because when we went there, we spent almost 2 hours. So I saw one of the security men pull a machete. Hello.
Yes, we're going to have more time to expand on these issues because this is not an issue that we can exhaust just today. It's an issue that we'll have to be discussing. But I see, just as we conclude, and it's interesting because when we head over to Parliament's vetting committee or the appointments committee this morning, the one who is going to be in the hot seat, Emmanuel Amakofibua, is the Minister Designate for Lands and Natural Resources, which segues neatly into this conversation. We'll be hearing from him on what they are going to do about illegal mining. But before we go there quickly, Ohimeng, I see some plaster on your head. Can you show us the damage that was done to you?
Yeah, that was the head injury I sustained. And I also sustained some injuries all over my body because if you see, I was really stoned. They threw stones at me, tried to sever my legs with machete. So the plaster you see here is the head injury I sustained. Unfortunately for me, this morning, I'm supposed to have gone for a dressing at the hospital. But because of this conversation, I had to put that one on hold. So since then, I've had this plaster on me.
We wish you a very speedy recovery, Ohimeng Teria. And we thank you for what you're doing for God and country. We'll leave you to attend to your wounds, and later we shall, when the time is proper, come back to you as we push this agenda.
Eti was saying, Joseph, so Ghana the IAM. Aye. The idea on and the government machinery, ahobambo ndiana yedi amo mo so mo mfa mo ho ban no omro mo di tu galamsey o omo ani abre omo di tu galamsey serious pa nya agoro what video we ti asema kwa we kan e the same place you ti
mumu hana tu etutu no hana tu da rofo no hana tutu no ai hana tu da rofo no hana suma no no hana suma no hana tu hana suma
asem na ye ka kire o ha enye ntro eye the Jubilee House the Honorable House the most, you can say, powerful house in the land, it is now involving in severe galamsey. Yes. But Kwasi Mpanyin way.
Latin. The surest way to wage
consent. Kwasi Mpanyin way. Ebe jira wa kanchira na nimu wa nimu. Kwasi Mpanyin way be jira wa kanchira se Ronaldo ene etu galamsey. Abra na sa Papa Ferempon anase Ferempon Boateng ono ankasa. The report on the Balkans so say in the Western region, the Western region is dominated by the NDC. Or can I say when we talk about Galamsey, the district in the region say Galamsey or Hono. The NDC are more organized in Galamsey, but Kwasi Mpanyin wankasa mfano. When we say the Nokrana Babe Daddy. Sa constituency chairman na papa ne kana asem no yen this ni o because western region ho no NDC for na command ho. Yes, they are the people now doing Galamsey. They were doing it before, but they are sharing people amanyoko. Yes, ya who gentry boys, ya who bukulong, ya who yempe who asem, ya who yen kahwe or one more money on bejai. And Amodidi, all said and a it was the NDC who were doing Galamsey. Yen said there was an NDC parliamentary candidate, Joanna, oye Galamsey de la, why ye Galamsey, I would have been, yeah. As I do, I've been out kind to say, yeah. So, Joanna, or NDC president, parliamentary candidate, our Western region, baby, I say, yeah, I hope, baby. Galamsey, na why yana who say tam, and no gusu ye Galamsey. But because I'm paying the way, you don't catch the Ghana for say, who for do fear, and I know the year to Galamsey. Emma yanso ye den ye jitu muji di say no kore. Ye wie ye no. Enti ansa na mede ma no be sinema kwa akoda breko no. Ye mpese men kan untie ne say. Se wonam no te say NDC ne tiamu say kromfu mi ye kumio komodimio ya ye obua ehwe na nim kora obo di ntro ono ana ye ono a ena we dey oye ono ana nim de oye nti okasa. Video doesn't lie. For what Joy News has done to MPP in all these years, I don't know the reason why they will come and lie to you and they say NDC for na ye Galamsey. And anadi mwakwaba. The NDC for their year MPP amanyo the Joy News for their year MPP amanyo cool for all these years. Minji ni say ne na ombese so mo anu be di ntro akiro. Say a NDC for na ye Galamsey abera amoye MPP for. Oh, sa papa na de miya or you're very evil. Or you're very evil. MPP for saying you're reshuffle. A bill no reshuffle. This is how he will pay you back. Where sa papa we amount for that so cost the echo interview no. Amount for share akona nazo munko interview no. For him to tell you what, that is what I'm asking. Then no person can chill. Huh? Wow, look. Wow, we are review. Yeah, bro. We a journalist, we a police new, we a soldier new. Hey, the power is coming from the Jubilee House because Aquano typical Panama can't say Mahama bodyguard ne de on bar house of Mayor Juma. Until we are through from fry pan to fire. When this ye ye color TV akoje black and white abesi them. Abusha me de mo besi asem we na na person ne menemo emeche emfa. Ensem bi o ho efa voma wo ho bet breko mani kura kum ma bre rof enti a kira se de tie bia no ye be hia e wo platform we aso me cheche mu nyina nana di me chia Joseph Dua me chia Lamte Kwame me chia Cynthia Frimpong me chia ye pa Ken Dego me chia Nana Akua Afro me chia ye pa Kofi Sapon me chia Emmanuel Asumadu me chia so ye pa Nana Bema me chia Wilson Asemani me chia so ye pa SKB TV me ya me chia pa Sansona Mame Fiewura ba kope Esther Kebarima me chia ba bi obia Agata Opon Michel Yepa Sansona Cynthia Frimpong Michel Yepa Bushanfo Medimobesia. Remember the Galamsey in Ghana is by the NDC Macramo Ebesientia. Adios.